Hello, and thank you for joining me today as we explore the chat and the participant menu in Zoom. Okay, so what you're seeing on your screen right now is our Zoom waiting room. And this waiting room is where students will go when they're waiting for the teacher to let them in for the Zoom session. If we think about the traditional classroom setting, this would be very similar to the students being in a line in a hallway outside of the classroom door, and the teacher needs to come in and unlock the door and let the students in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let our student in here. And now we will be here in our Zoom session once it connects. Okay, so now that we're here, we're going to go full screen so that we can see everything very clearly. Okay, so just a quick word about Zoom. Zoom is one of the 2 district-approved video conferencing tools that teachers can use with their students when they're doing their classroom learning. Okay, the other tool that's available is Google Meet. All right, the purpose of this video, however, is that we're going to focus in on Zoom specifically. Okay, so we're here in our Zoom session, and the first thing that I want you to notice is down here at the bottom is our participants and our chat. So we're going to click on participants right now, and we'll see our participant window, and we can see the other people that are here. If there were more students in the class, we would see a list of names down here. Now, students can only control the microphone and the camera for themselves, okay? They can't control that for anybody else in the class. So even though they'll see this, notice they can only click on something if they are on that person themselves, okay? The other thing that I want to point out is these tools down here, okay? These are the nonverbal reactions, and that means that the students can click on this without having to turn on their microphones, without having to talk to the class. If they just want to answer a question very quickly that the teacher has asked, or if they need to raise their hand, they would do that right here. Okay, and in order to do that, they would just click one of the reactions, and then it will show up there. Okay, now for the teacher, they would see this show up on their screen as well. So they would be able to see, okay, the student has raised their hand. So they would know to go ahead and ask the student to unmute their microphone and ask their question. Under our More button, we have some other options for things that students can click on. They can click on the thumbs down and the thumbs up. They can click on clap. They can click on the coffee cup to say that they need to take a break, or they can click on the clock to say that they are away from their keyboard for a moment. Okay, the other tools that are here in our participant screen is our Unmute Me button. So teachers have the option of turning off everybody's microphones. And so when that happens, a teacher might do that if they need to say something important that they need the whole class to hear, something like that. If a student needs to turn their microphone back on so that they can ask a question or comment on what the teacher is saying, then they can ask the teacher to unmute them. And that's that button right there. Okay, it's just asking the teacher, hey, can you please turn my mic on because I have something I want to say. Okay, so that is our participant window. The other window that we have down below is our chat window. So I'm going to click on this, and our chat window is where we would go to communicate with other people in class. Okay, if we just need to, again, if we don't want to turn our microphone on and we just need to type something into our chat box, we can do that right here. So for example, we can type in our message down here to our teacher and the rest of the students in the class. Okay, so what we're going to do to make it to where other people can see it is we have to press that enter key on our keyboard, and then it goes up there. Make sure that you notice that once it's there, it cannot be deleted. It cannot be changed. If something is there, if a student types something they didn't really want everyone to see, if once they click that enter button, then anyone in the class will be able to see it. So they really want to be thoughtful before they put something here in the chat. Okay, the other thing that I want to point out while we're in the chat is that students have the option of sending a chat to everyone, or they can send it to the teacher privately. Okay, so to send it to the teacher so that the other students can't see it, they would click on the teacher's name and see how it says privately next to there, and then they can type a message. Okay, so maybe, a student's not going to want everyone in the class to know that they didn't have time to get their homework done last night, but they do want to let the teacher know. Okay, so they'll type it and then they'll click the enter button on the keyboard, and then only the teacher will see it. Okay, even though it shows up here and it looks like everyone can see it, we know that only the teacher can see it because it says privately right here. Okay, so then if the student wants to send a message to the whole class again, they're going to click on this arrow, then they're going to click everyone to send a message to the whole class. Okay, so that is our chat and our participant view in our Zoom meetings. Just as a refresher, how we got to those, I'm going to close these windows so we can see them. This is our Zoom session when we first come in. Okay, we have participants down here. This is what we click to get that window to open up. And then to open up our chat, we would click here. Okay, one last thing that I want to point out is that if the chat is not open and somebody posts something in the chat, then there will be an indicator that shows up for the student. So let me post something very quickly. Okay, so we don't have our chat window open, but we know that a chat has come through because now this is turned yellow and it has a number 1, right? The number indicates how many chat messages are in that chat screen. So if I click to open this, then now I can see what the chat was that my teacher added. Okay. All right. So that is our participants and our chat screens in our Zoom session. Thank you for joining me